Former flat earthers. What made you come round? Kyrie Irving hasn't been doing press conferences. Man's just disappeared from the court like he fell off the disc. Kyrie Irving out of the loofah to Google that shit for others similarly unaware. He's just busy searching for the edge of Earth. He has been, but you just gotta open your third eye to see him and your third ear to listen. The peens in the media don't get that. The Mobius Strip Earthers had more compelling arguments. No, there would be no need for arguments since we were all on the same side. Tell me more. Klein bottle earthers looking down their noses. Anderson 9 hours ago, those guys with their endless loop of never-ending arguments. 8 reply share report save. Quote I got from somewhere. For 5 years I believed the earth was flat. Then I turned 6. Ella 5. This reminds me of something George Carlin once said. I was a Catholic until I reached the age of reason. Virus's 9 hours ago, I think the original quote meant to say then I turned 5. 498 reply share report save. I convinced a flat earther temporarily by asking him if it was possible for a sphere to be so large that you could not tell it was a sphere by simply being on the surface of it. It took him a while. I used an analogy of extremely long line that was so slightly curved you could not tell so by looking at a small section of it. Eventually he said yes to the sphere, and I told him that was how big the earth is. A few days later he reverted. Most of these people aren't mentally stable. They believe in a lot of conspiracies. Edit. Corny edit. But as connoisseur of flat earth content, my personal favorite is Professor Dave War on YouTube. He is an underappreciated dude who just had a science channel on YouTube and got brigaded by flat earthers for an unrelated video. He made like 6 video responses in total just owning these guys, but they eventually gave up. Check it out. What I like to do is use telescopes. This telescope is strong enough to see distant stars and galaxies. Yes, okay, look out this direction across the ocean. Can you see Europe? Edit. Or my inbox lol. Most of these people aren't mentally stable. They believe in a lot of conspiracies. A lot of them have made it such a large part of their personality that it is not as easy as just changing their opinion. They have to basically reconstruct themselves, which they want to. Damn, that's like the original proof. That's how the Greeks calculated the circumference of the earth originally. X-Brook 7 hours ago. Whatever, dude. The earth is flat. I can see Seattle from my house. Also, I live just outside Seattle. 14 reply share report save. Continue this thread. More replies. I watched a documentary about flat earthers called Truth Behind the Curve, and my analysis from watching that these flat earthers are a group of people who found a community to be a part of. It's a shame their community is based on a lie, but I saw a bunch of people who were to be part of a community. Most of the people were social awkward and whatnot, and so an opportunity to be an influential figure within the community, so they doubled down on their flawed logic. The more against you are of them, the harder they rep their flatness. Told her. I see flat earthers as a group of lonely people looking for a community that will accept them. Edit. Wolf did not expect this comment to blow up. Thanks for the silver and the dialogue, everyone. They actually did an experiment, and that if they got one result, the earth was flat. If they got the other, it was round. Experiment showed that the earth is, drum roll, round. They claimed it was human error that caused the wrong result. If that's the Netflix one, I think it is actually really good. Instead of just being like, look at these dummies, it really does take the time to build these otherwise harebrained outsiders into empathetic characters who just seem lost in a maze of their own making. You want them to be free. You want them to live a normal, healthy life. You want them to live a normal, But I just can't imagine the strength it takes to mentally deprogram from that disorganized cult. What I got out of the Netflix one is that Mark Sargent doesn't actually believe in it, neither does that hot chick. They just love the attention and fame. The guy wears shirts with his name on it. This is all he has. My coworker watched that movie and the next day came into work and said jokingly, "Did you know the earth is flat?" I told him it was too early for his shit and we make airplanes for a living. Look, It is really easy if the Earth is flat. There would be an edge. There would and there would be a fucking Disney park at the edge, and we could bungee jump off the side and paraglide into the void exit sack. Someone would be making an absolute shit ton of money off of it if it existed. Guess what? Nobody is doing that, and in this world where absolutely everything is exploited for profit, if no one is making money off of it, it does not exist. No edge, not flat. Get a clue. Let's not forget it to be the cleanest and success guaranteed suicide. I mean, depending what's down there, unless it's an endless void and all you do is keep falling until you starve. You know what? Never mind. If no one is making money off of it, it does not exist. I am definitely gonna steal that one. No more stupid debates. This is the answer. That's actually, I think, a really effective approach. Conspiracy theorists are usually very cynical about the world and feel like something is wrong with it. Your approach acknowledges this core conviction and invites the person to consider how their specific conspiracy would actually play out given what they believe about the world. Bravo! This is legit a solid argument. Hollywood's Row 7 hours ago there would be an edge. Don't they claim that at the edge there's like this crazy high wall of ice or something? 4-8 reply share report save continue this thread more replies. I was debating a flat earther in Mexico, and I asked him about how it worked if there were no satellites. He said that they had devices in the ground to route you. I told him the Mexican government is barely able to put decent water pipes in the ground. Would he really think they had the tech to put routing devices in the ground? He chuckled with a 1,000-mile gaze. I mean, with all the money go to routing devices in the ground, no wonder there is no money left. If they were in the ground, let's go dig one up then. Mexican guy. He craze. If the earth was round he wouldn't be able to gaze 1,000 miles. A serious answer here. The thing that made me stop was just the question, why would NASA lie to you? This a solid point. There's no way 70,000 scientists could keep it a secret. Edit. Since this is getting tons of replies and a lot are addressing the Manhattan Project, I'll address it here. Yes, they did a great job at keeping it a secret while it was happening, but it inevitably came out. My point is addressing that this secret would be impossible to continue to stay secret, especially during the current information age. I mean, fair enough, right? Like they don't have anything to gain or lose no matter if the earth is flat, not saying it is, or round on fa. Not to mention the numerous space programs from countries that actively dislike each other but only cooperate on this singular issue. That's the exact question I asked the few flat earthers I've met, but the most dug in of them have an answer. It proves God if the earth is flat, so of course they won't let us know. Can I just ask, since you are a former flat earther, how would the earth being flat actually work? I think it is pretty easy for the majority of people alive today to distrust the motives and actions of government organizations. Unfortunately, this distrust manifests in many seemingly bizarre ways, like believing the earth is flat. The inclined seat conformed perfectly to his body, strategically placed in the cockpit so he could reach no buttons with outstretched arms. The straps ensured him firmly in place. They were uncomfortable but necessary. The engine burst to life with a roar that burned out all the other audio. The vibrations tore through his body and he felt his body sink back into the seat as the force began to take hold. The captain was watching the readouts on the LED displays and monitoring their trajectory as the acceleration began to peel his thoughts away. There was no more room in his brain. It had been filled by pure fear. The boosters grew with greater ferocity as they lifted higher into the sky, the sun beaming down on the left side of the shuttle. They are into shoe, But faster they went through Max can higher into the stratosphere until the engines grew quieter, the air more silent, and the vibrations became less violent. They were approaching space, the final frontier. An hour later, and with the path of the shuttle a success, he noticed as his raw emotions withdrew that his body felt funny. Head hair drifted aimlessly across his eyes as the captain's pen hovered in midair, and he knew the impossible was true. His childhood dream, he was in space, weightless. The captain turned around to him and motioned him to unhook his seatbelts. He did as he was commanded. They both left their chairs and glided over to the tiny glass windows to overlook the magnificence of Earth. "What do you think now?" said the captain. He recoiled in horror. It couldn't be. NASA had replaced the windows with high-definition screens in order to perpetrate their lies that the world was spherical. Those bastards. On Behind the Curve on Netflix, two of the flat earthers accused the moon of being a giant screen controlled by NASA. You aren't too far off. This reminds me of Kurt Vonnegut writing, "Great job, 8. Bravo, clap, clap, bravo. Had to travel to Japan. Gave up on my beliefs in order to make a shorter trip." I said the same thing on another post. However, someone more familiar with the conspiracy said they believe the Earth is actually a circle with the North Pole in the middle with the South Pole, or Antarctica, encircling us. For me, it just brought up more questions. Please elaborate. What did you think people were buying plane tickets to fall off the Earth, or you just assumed people were getting cheap tickets to be tricked by faster planes? I spent about a year infiltrating the Flat Earth community on Instagram. I garnered a decent following with an account dedicated to Flat Earth travel photos and intentionally absurd premise. In that time, I learned quite a bit about the community, including how to discern the trolls from the real deal. The majority of legit flat earthers are extremely distrustful of anything the government says or does. These same people are 9/11 truthers, Holocaust deniers, and anti-vaxxers, and they connect these conspiracies together. Many of them have also attached flat earth theory to religion, magic, or mysticism. Before my infiltration, I'd always considered conspiracies fun, like they were the fan fiction of real life. Like they were the fiction. Now they mostly make me sad. For all the phony accounts like mine, there are still plenty of people out there willing to drop a couple of $100 on a flat earth convention. Yeah, it seems really important to validate people and acknowledge their underlying concerns, rather than mock or belittle them. I'd acknowledge their mistrust of the government, but remind them that the government is made of humans, who are faulty and fail. Big conspiracies tend to fall apart. Then I'd invite them to consider other possible explanations for what they believe. It is still hard to reach them, but at least acknowledging their underlying concerns, I think, helps open them up a little bit. Mockery and throwing facts and logic at them without empathy is less effective. Matt Sprony 3 nor the part about the fun little fantasy not being so fun anymore is relatable to me. Was never a fan of conspiracy theories or anything, and never really knew people who were into conspiracy theories in that kind of way. But pretty much my entire friend group turned into the alt-right shitposting type, and it's a similar situation. I never played into it. I could ignore any of the dumbest stuff they wanted to say because they thought it was fun to be edgy. But at some point it just seemed like that's what everything is about now. I guess after like a decade, for some reason, these people still think this is fun, more fun than ever apparently. And I just decided to leave. I just blocked them all a few months ago and haven't talked to them since. If they knew where I lived, they might have come looking for me. They'd done that before. But last time I moved, I didn't tell them where. And it sucks. They were my friends. They were my only friends. But I just didn't want to deal with all of that anymore. If it's just a fun little thing, then it shouldn't define your personality like that. A fun little thing shouldn't be pushing so much negativity in the world. Do these people actually believe the things that they were saying, or do they just want to look like complete fucking brainless idiots all of the time? Is that fun? Is it fun to argue with people about it and try to get people onto your side about it? Not a flat earther. But I was a 9/11 truther, I guess you could say, insofar as I thought it was an inside job. I was heavily influenced and believed in multiple conspiracies in the Zeitgeist film as well. There was a never-ending source of dark, shadowy days and them's controlling everything behind the scenes. I think there were a few factors that helped me escape that. Losing my father. It was such a life-changing event at that age that it made me reconsider everything in my life. Some light training in evaluating information. I learned about how to vet sources, primary, whether something was actually news or just an opinion editorial, etc. Ironically, this education came before I was duped. After my dad died, suddenly this started to kick in more. Lack of time means to dig myself a deeper hole. I started college shortly after my father passed, and that a full-time job took up all my time. I had none to buy further into the newest crazy bullshit. I had no Facebook Twitterage, no smartphone or texting. My primary use of Reddit once I discovered it was for Naruto, for Bleach, Rage comics, and advice animals. So all in all, I think the time away gave me time to detox. If I had been on social media as I discovered those things, I can only imagine I very well may have become a believer as well. Looking back, I see how gullible I was in that moment, fooled by the onslaught of half-truths and clever logic of the various theories. I know better now, and I should have known better then, but I've been humbled to the fact that everyone is vulnerable to this sort of stuff. To think otherwise is deluding yourself. This is a really solid base for anyone diving into the various conspiracy rabbit holes. Good writing. And sorry about your pops. If someone starts as a round earther and then converts to being a flat earther and then goes back to being a round earther, would you say they've come full circle? Once they've realized their mistake, I'd say they were really on the ball. Well, the displacement is zero. Full sphere. There are no round earthers. There are flat earthers and normal people. Long yumping most 4,726 11 hours a roundabout way. Yes 48 reply share report save continue this thread nor replies. I was tired of living life on the edge. I've been to the edge and I've been to the edges. I've been to the edge, you've been to the edge. And God knows if I've looked down, I've been to the edge. What an edgy response. The edge. The edge. The edge, I'm on the edge of glory and I'm hanging on a moment with you. No Tinia Kuradmanisa. 11 hours ago. Edited 10 hours ago. Living on the edge, you can't help yourself from fail. And living on the edge, you can't help yourself at 2417 replies share report save continue this thread nor replies. Obviously there's a lot of memeing around here, but if the question was meant seriously, we should understand what exactly flat earth belief is. As Dan from the channel Folding Ideas puts it in his excellent video In Search of a Flat Earth. Nominally, flat earth is a belief that the earth isn't a globe, but is actually flat, a fact that has been kept from us, meaning normal people, by a nebulous, powerful them for nefarious, inscrutable purposes. I think it is worth considering that the shape of the earth might actually be the least important belief of flat earth. Flat earth is a syncretic, biblical belief that is both evangelical and apocalyptic. The world is flat, and they are hiding that fact from you because a flat earth would be irrefutable proof that we live in a divine fishbowl, and, thus, that God is real. Flat earthers are not otherwise empty vessels who believe one cookie thing. They believe that thing because it suits their purposes. Flat earthers have an agenda. Their anxiety is that the world has become too complex, that too many things are changing, and that science and progressivism are actively malicious elements working to obstruct the true nature of God. Most people don't actually believe flat earth because they were persuaded by shoddy evidence. They do so because it says something they already believe about the nature of the social world, which is why I believe one of the best approaches is to acknowledge their underlying belief and respect for a higher power. I like to remind religious people that we are limited and finite, and if God exists, then God is infinitely bigger than we are, and his plans are far beyond anything we can comprehend. God doesn't need us to acknowledge his existence. God exists or doesn't exist independent of our beliefs. If he does exist, no matter how complex things actually are, he is in control of it all. The person doesn't need to fear a complex world that he doesn't understand because God works on a completely different time scale and according to their beliefs, knows what he is doing. If they think they have God figured out with their simple little conspiracy, they are being blasphemous. Even if God revealed himself in Scripture, our interpretations can be way off. Usually these people have respect for God, and this will at least help them entertain the possibility that they are wrong. It is not perfect, but it can help open minds. Cerbert 6 hours ago, thank you. I was hoping someone had brought this up. That vid is especially poignant after the Capitol breach by Canoners and those of related beliefs. Satan reply, share, report, save, or replies. Not me, but got a flat earther to question his beliefs and hopefully critically analyze them by giving him the proof he asked for, to which he responded, mainstream science and media are lies. I asked why he asked for proof if he could just disregard it as lies either way, then told him that since he required no proof or evidence against to believe something, it made him the easiest person to deceive and that it seemed pretty sheep-like to me. He deleted all of his flat earth comments and hasn't posted about it since. 200 beta. Holy round earth, Batman. Thank you for the karma and awards and Gould. I promise I'll screenshot next time a tattoo. He didn't block me. I can still see everything he posted. And the op thread creator also said the comment disappeared. Shame, shame, shame. 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 He probably didn't change his opinion, but he did become ashamed of it, which is a good start. That's the typical response I get from a lot of people about any weird shit they believe. They demand proof that they're wrong, and if you give them proof it doesn't count and never has. Sorry, but you glossed over a huge bit. What was the proof he requested and what did you offer? Club 422 10 hours ago. I've been trying this tactic on Trumpers with limited success, because most of it is online. Basically, why do you believe Trump is telling the truth and the media are lying, when the only source for him telling the truth is him and his supporters? Maybe I should add your ignoring facts makes you easy to deceive angle and see what that is. 7 reply, share, report, save. Oh, they move on to join the cult. Seriously, I was hoping to see this documentary in here somewhere. Goddamn, what a great video. Thank you for posting this link. Seriously, just watched it. My father is deep into canon, and this man basically put into words exactly what I've witnessed. So no one with serious responses. I was kinda looking forward to reading the replies. I was too, but I think the vast majority of flat earthers are just joking around with a little too much commitment to the joke. But a few gullible folks get caught up in their trolling nets. The birds are not real thing is probably going along similar lines. There won't be any serious comments, because flat earthers are not available to be persuaded. I quoted that from In Search of a Flat Earth. It is more than an hour long, but it is the best video on the topic and probably one of the best documentaries on YouTube, period. I really recommend watching it. If you don't have the time, you can watch the relevant parts starting at 18 minutes or till do. The belief that the Earth is flat is just a part of a larger worldview held by almost all flat earthers. Their worldview is evangelical and apolitical, and flat Earth provides them with a simple worldview that conforms to their good-evil categorization. Unfortunately, most flat earthers have since gone a step further and now flocked to canon. No one took me seriously. You probably used circular logic. The Vedami 10 hours ago, Badumts 49 reply, share, report, 7 or replies. It was a typo. We discovered the Earth was fat, not just heavy. Not merely big-boned, but genuinely fat earthers united. It is wider around the middle, she thinks. 1 hand 23 10 hours ago, early took an their forum reply, share, report, 7 or replies.
Like and subscribe for more Reddit content. Watch the next video at the top of your screen.